Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross and I play Elias Stone, a human cleric.
I'm Connor Shenold. I play Sable, a half-elf rogue.
I'm Johnny Payne and I play August E. Greymoor, a human fighter.
I'm Carrie Hester and I play Moxie, a tiefling bard.
And I'm Brooke Bullock, your DM. Please join us as we explore the curse of the Clockwork City. After a harrowing last moments of their journey, the small caravan has made its way to Ironspire. And at the gates, as they get ready to go their various ways, citizen August E. Greymoor comes face to face with an old companion from the city guard, now specialist Reynard. There's a tension in the air as August approaches the gate, asking for entrance.
Incoming caravan from the south.
Little Augie, it's good to see you again. Still keeping them gloves safe?
Still being dishonorable.
You ever think about getting lost in those hills out there?
You ever think about getting lost and never found?
Careful, citizen. That could be considered a threat against a guard of the city.
Citizen. Guard of the city. One day, this city will have its champion.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to let us pass, or are we going to be another notch on your belt?
Well, first we gotta do an inspection of your cart, make sure everything's prim and proper.
Here's Moley, the caravan driver. I will leave you with him then to inspect the caravan. Elias?
Yes, August.
Let us go.
All
I'll
right.
show you where the temple is.
Oh, it was nice to meet you.
Elias, listen to me, it wasn't. And I'll show you through the doorway of the gate.
Elias, you have intentions once you get there in town?
Right, so can you help me find my way to the Temple of Nin Gahe?
Yes, the Temple of Nin Gahe, it is.
It's in surprisingly just the next district over. Fairly easy to find.
Yes, apologies for the guard at the door. We used to be in the same unit.
It seemed like you two had a bit of a history and it wasn't all pleasant.
No.
So did you work with him?
We worked together, yes. And then he, the city is corrupt.
You were mentioning about that before.
And I was given an option, and here I am.
Well, I think we're all better off without you being corrupt and working for the city. Sorry you had to give up your life, I guess, ambition.
It just gave me a new ambition, if you will.
Well, maybe there's something we can work together. I do not like corruption either. In fact, I find it rather abhorrent.
As we're walking, Elias, I think I like you.
I think I like you too, August. I think this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
How long do you think you'll be at the temple?
Well, I don't know, actually. It might be for a few seconds. It might be for a lifetime, depending on what it was I was supposed to be sent there for.
I will accompany you to the temple, and then I want to show you a place I like to hang out, spend my time. And actually, as a matter of fact, Elias, do you happen to know the time?
It's evening time, late afternoon, 5:30, because remember, you guys are coming into the city.
Well, where is it you were wanting to go to?
Oh, it's a little establishment that I do some work in from time to time. We could get some food and some drink and a bit of entertainment.
I think that sounds like an excellent idea. Tell you what, let's run over to the temple real quick, and because we've just been traveling all day. I think it sounds like a good idea to find ourselves a nice place to eat. And what kind of drinks do they have there? Do they have a nice whiskey? I could really use a nice whiskey.
Huh. They do have a nice whiskey.
Excellent.
I will have one with you.
Excellent.
But what time is it? And wait. I'm gonna put my hand up and stop you. Listen. In the direction we're walking, you can faintly hear chimes getting louder and louder. Yes, right on time. The temple you seek.
Excellent.
You can lead me the rest of the way.
Right. And so I guide myself toward the temple, and what do I see?
There you go. Well, Ironspire is considered by its leadership anyway to be the technological jewel of the continent of Tanverel. It was founded some 300 years ago at the height of the Prytomian Empire from across the sea. But for the last 200 years, Ironspire has controlled its own destiny. After an apparently worldwide time of faltering magic, Ironspire embraced clockwork innovations and other technologies, and the city flourished when many other Prytomian colonies on the continent of Tanverel faltered. When magic returned to the world, Ironspire intertwined the arcane and the mundane. However, many of the residents of Ironspire don't share such luxuries of automation. A definitive divide exists between the ruling class of noble families, the rising fortunes of merchants in various guilds, and the commoners, with some neighborhoods housing only the destitute and the lost. Even though fortunes of fate rarely rise more than a rank or two in Ironspire, the people seem to have an ambition that won't give up, until the day comes when perhaps a dark alleyway swallows them completely and they're never heard from again. Currently, King Corellian controls Ironspire more fully and longer than any previous monarch in the last 200 years. But that control remains tenuous, based on covenants and interplays from all types of guilds and groups, families and bloodlines, for none of the sovereigns of Ironspire have died of old age. None have had a direct blood heir continue their reign. Nevertheless, all the noble houses still strive and scheme to have their family possess the crown, and many within and without the ruling council secretly count the days until this latest king will fall to what we call the curse of the Clockwork City. Dr. Elias Stone has renewed his faith in Nagahe, the radiant shield, the unyielding, the white dove of the shield, peace, protection, order, and life, who embodies sanctity and protection of the innocent, the nurturing of life in its purest, most harmonious forms. Nagahe is often depicted as a serene and regal figure, deeply bronzed skin, draped in flowing white robes, often holding a shield emblazoned with a white dove. And as you approach the temple, an acolyte comes and beckons for you to follow them through the door, revealing a modest but immaculately cultured garden courtyard just inside. It almost seems like the temple was built around this natural scene, perhaps in an effort not to disturb the tranquil setting that's there. There are some walkways that basically form an N shape, so you can go around the garden without stepping through it. And as you enter in, the acolyte pauses for a moment, almost as if they are encouraging you to center yourself in the courtyard.
And I will stop and turn towards the garden and just lower my head and put my hand on a symbol that I have around my neck of Nin Gahe, of the goddess. And I will pause for a moment and then look back up to the acolyte and say, "We all ready?"
So the acolyte then says, "With your heart at peace, what brings you to the Temple of Nagahe, traveler?"
Right. Well, I am also a cleric of Nin Gahe. I was just recently appointed in Calamera, and Father Reginald Thorne there at the temple sent me up here to... Actually, I don't even know why. Father Reggie said he'd gotten some kind of message from the goddess herself that I was needed up here, so I left my clinic to come up here, so that's why I'm here. Have you heard anything pertaining to Elias Stone?
I haven't, but if you would like to come and rest for a moment, I can definitely check and see if you're expected and I'm just not aware of it.
That would be fine. We've got a little bit of time, right, August?
Yeah. So they take you over to a little side room, open the door, and there's a little table, there's a water bowl for you to freshen up if you so choose to do so, and they say that they will check and then be right back. And August, you're coming along too, or do you just drop him off and see him later?
Yeah, I'm going to stay here. I don't know how much I'll stay with him.
Okay.
We're kind of close by. It's your thing.
That's true. You could probably stay out in the lobby.
So you stay there, that lobby area. There's a place to sit. It's very relaxing, peaceful. You almost feel as if that tension-filled interplay between you and Specialist Reynard, it starts to fade from your mind a little bit. It's just like, doesn't really matter. You know who you are. You know what he is. And everything will work itself out at the end. Just, a gentleness kind of settles across you with that. It seems like there's a long silence, a long wait. Then, August, you might notice a strikingly beautiful woman in immaculate white robes comes out from the far end of the courtyard and along the walkway, stops at the door that Elias went into, raps politely on the door, and you hear that knocking, Elias.
I get up and I go and answer the door.
There you go. And again, apparently beautiful human woman, maybe about 30 years old or so. Her jet black hair is pulled back in a different but very elaborate braiding that seems to somehow enhance her natural beauty, and maybe it's the contrast of her black hair and her pale complexion. She stands there for a moment and peace just radiates off of her. Then she says, "Welcome, Elias."
Yes, sister, what is your name?
I am Yuri.
Yuri, have you some kind of a message or something for me?
Nagahe is working. For the most part, Ironspire is orderly, and we know that life is precious. We strive to protect. However, recently there have been some disappearances and some robberies, and yes, every city has those, and you can just feel the weight of what she has to say next in her heart. She says, "But children are disappearing. The town guard has so much to do, and a missing child here or there happens in a city like Ironspire. But 3 weeks ago, 4 children were taken from our very own orphanage. And I sought the guidance of the goddess. And what kept coming to me was, find the stone of Calimera. It was a puzzle for us to figure out. Life is a puzzle. The goddess doesn't always give us direct answers, but this seemed very important. And that's when we reached out to our sisters at Calimera, only to find out that in their ranks was you, Dr. Elias Stone."
Well, I certainly am flattered, and I do feel for the kids in the orphanage. That hits home. But I don't know how I can help out. But I do have some contacts here in Ironspire. I might be able to look up some old friends and maybe see if I can figure out something for you. But whatever it is Nin Gahe has for me, I will certainly endeavor to solve it for you.
It would be honored unto the goddess, and of course, your order in Calimera, and ultimately, it would be the purpose of protection of others. If you could do anything, maybe you do know someone who could help. Maybe someone that we don't know that you do is a connection to these disappearances. I only know what the goddess whispered to me in prayer. Find the stone from Calimera.
Let me get some rest. We've just been on a long travel. And then I'll maybe check out the orphanage, or is there somewhere else I should investigate first?
You are more than welcome to look at the Illuminated Light Orphanage if you wish. We have doubled our protection and our security there. There's been no other untoward circumstances that have occurred. 2 boys and 2 girls were taken from there. Deke, Elisa, Tomas, and Lila.
Well, I'll see if I can find these kids for you and see if I can uncover anything else going on here in Ironspire. If that's the will of the goddess, then I certainly will do my best. Sister, I thank you for letting me know. I'm going to go get some rest. We will start early tomorrow morning to figure out what's going on.
We are so thankful that you are here. The gentleman who walked in with you, I'm assuming the one waiting, he looked like a traveler as well, is with you?
He was actually our traveling god when I was coming up from Calamara. And Sister Yori, I gotta say, there's something about him that seems like he is a good soul. And we all know Nin Gahe certainly picks her champions, sometimes not out of the old fold itself, but actually from other means, other ways. So maybe he's got something to help along with this as well.
Testing and proving is our way. Did you see any evidence of this goodness in his heart?
While we're on our way here, our caravan was attacked by kobolds. The children were almost kidnapped, and he risked his life to protect those children, slaying a couple of the kobolds in a mighty fashion. So he could be quite the champion.
And she actually turns and looks out the open doorway toward him, and then she turns back to you and says, Nin Gahe must be bringing a shield unto these children, maybe two, a shield and a champion.
Sister Yori, I thank you very much. We will be on our way. I will return to the temple tomorrow morning after we get some rest.
She gives you a blessing and says, I would offer you a place here at the temple, but it feels like you need to be out doing your investigations, for lack of a better word.
I think actually being out in the city is a better idea than being here, although I would love nothing more than to stay here inside these walls, but certainly we need to be out and investigating what's going on in the city.
So you take your leave of this little private room chamber, stepping back out into the garden courtyard. August is waiting.
I'm sitting on a bench against the wall, polishing the blade of my halberd from the incursion that we just had recently. And I hear your footsteps. That woman was exquisite.
I know. That was Sister Yori.
And did she give you guidance?
She did. There's a lot we got to talk about. I could use a drink. How about you?
Yes, I was going to talk to you about that. Whiskey. Have you ever heard of a rusty cog?
I've not heard of a rusty cog.
So there's a whiskey drink that is made by adding honey to it and some spices to make it maybe just a bit bitter. And when you mix this whiskey with just normal whiskey, it is called a rusty cog. It is delightful. You're in my city. You're going to have one.
So let's head on to what was the name of the place again?
It's called the Siren Song.
The Siren Song. Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yes. Guidance. Did she...
Yes, let's talk when we get there.
Very well.
There's a lot she talked about that might be happening here in the city. And I don't necessarily want to be out in the open while we talk about it.
You're very clever, Elias.
Thank you. Well, I have a lot of education.
I just have street smarts and I would say heart, but I don't know if that's a boon or a bane anymore.
I think it'll be quite the blessing. So let's head off.
Go, Sissy. Let us away.
So you guys leave the middle of Ironspire, the southern middle, I guess, and you move along to a district that is right at the edge between two districts. The docks are won over. They can be a rough and tumble place that night. They're also the place of economy and shipping and those type of elements. Not far from there is the Siren's Song. Kirti, would you like to describe the inside of the Siren's Song a little bit?
Sure. So as you approach on the street, the sign hangs and juts out over the sidewalk. A big wooden sign with Siren Song emblazoned, and then in the middle it has a picture of a mermaid or a siren sitting on a rock. And then as maybe somebody on the street ahead of you walks into the song and opens the door, you can hear music and chatter, and seems to be a busy time of the evening right here just past supper time. You open the door and walk in, and you're hit with first a warm air to cut through the air outside that is maybe still a little bit chilly from the rain the night before. You can feel the large fireplace in the corner, and you can smell some rich stew maybe, you're not entirely sure, some definitely some kind of spiced meat. And you can see along one wall you've got some booths. Across the back you have a small stage that's just maybe 1 or 2 steps up. It's not a big showy thing. And then you've got a fireplace across from the booths and the bar in the corner kind of close to the door. A couple of small tables peppered throughout. And over the large fireplace is a huge painting, I'm talking 5-foot tall painting that looks very similar to the mermaid on the signage outside, but this is a beautifully rendered painting of a mermaid with a turquoise tail, green eyes, and long brown hair. Behind the bar is Moxie. As you come in, she has just let off a bit of fire, so it looks like she's doing a little fire breathing. The people at the bar cheer as she flips a cup up, pours it off the back of her elbow, and slides it down to the guy at the end waiting.
Over in one corner is a small table in a brightly lit corner, and at that small table you might notice a couple of kids. One of them is a girl with really dark curly hair. One side of her head's shaved. Maybe she's like 9 years old or so, and the other is a boy with long auburn hair, quite thin looking. Maybe she's 9, he's 6, somewhere right there, and they are both having maybe their second or third bowl of stew. Like, you could tell that they've just been ravenous and eating this up.
Quite the show. I promise you, though, it's a little more peaceful and quiet in here than Moxie just likes to show off once in a while.
She's pink.
She is. We don't mention it.
Well, thank you for letting me know. I don't want to, certainly don't want to offend her, but she's pink and blows fire.
Yes.
Has Dr. Elias never seen a tiefling before?
We did say that pink tieflings were rare.
Pink is a weird color for her.
Okay.
Come, I'll introduce you. Remember, you're pink, okay? And we start approaching the bar. And I'll walk right up to it, slap my hand down, and go, Pinky, this is my friend Elias.
Dr. Elias Stone.
August, why are you always coming in here and bringing your fancy friends? You better tip better than you have before.
When I hang out with fancy people, it makes me look better.
There's no making you look better. What can I get for you?
He's new in town, so if you're still up for it.
Well, apparently I've got to try this rusty cog is what you go, rusty cog, right? That's what you called it.
Yes.
All right. Well, I would love a rusty cog. And if I am not mistaken, am I smelling beef stew?
Of course.
Oh, my mother used to make the best beef stew, and I would, if y'all some fresh bread, I would love beef stew with some fresh bread. That would be, a rusty cog would be fantastic.
I'll lean into Moxie as if I'm going to be confident with her. But I will turn my back to the bar and survey the room and lean back. Moxie, those two children at the table over there, are they bothering you?
They're on their 4th or 5th bowl of stew at this point, but you know, I'll feed a kid any day of the week.
You sure?
Of course.
What are their names?
Deke and Elias.
You know, if you feed them tonight, they're probably going to come back tomorrow night.
Did you say Deke and Eliza?
Yeah.
You know these children.
Well, I actually do. But not personally, of course, but could you go get that beef stew and the rusty cog for us? We'll just sit here at the bar. That's okay?
2 rusty cogs.
Yeah, of course. So she will step away. She's going to make eye contact with a woman who is moving between the tables. Aria, we need a stew, and this fancy lad here, he wants your freshest bread. So if you could, over here at the bar, thanks. Then she's going to make this rusty cog. As she is making this drink, she is going to say, so, August, this friend of yours ain't never had a rusty cog before.
He is a whiskey drinker, though.
What do you say we make it extra rusty?
Well, welcome to Ironspire.
So she's going to make your drink, and then as she hands it to you with her hand, she's going to wave her other hand over it and light it on fire so that you now have a flaming drink in front of you.
That's mighty kind of you. You might be interested in this too, Moxie. So I just came here from Calamera. I was sent here by the Temple of Nin Gahe, who I have recently become, and I'll show you my symbol of Nin Gahe, cleric of Nin Gahe. Well, she sent me to the temple here for reasons we didn't know why. Well, as soon as I get there, they've talked about Their orphanage was attacked about 3 weeks ago, and 4 children were taken from the orphanage. And 2 of the children's names were Deke and Elias.
Oh, well, time's up, because listen, I saved those 2 from being kidnapped in a dark alley. They was running away. Me and a pal of mine, gave them the old 1-2, 1-2. They was out, and I was in here with the kids. They was absolutely filthy. We had to scrub them for hours. They smelled like fish. This close to the docks, everything smells a little bit like fish, but these 2 smelled like they'd been dunked in it, Anyway, like I said, they're on their 4th or 5th bowl of stew, but if they belong to this Nin Gahe lady, then yeah, sure.
Do you mind if I go and talk to him?
Deke is a little nervous as a person, but Elias, she'll probably talk to you. I have a feeling that Elias made a distraction, and she was like, Deke, run! And then that's how she got caught.
Elias, wait. This is all very coincidental.
Oh, their names are Deke and Elias? Or that we would happen to walk into the bar, which is the same place where the goddess told me I needed to be. I don't believe in coincidences, my friend.
He's gonna need another one. And I'll pick mine up off the bar and sip it as I follow you. And I turn to Moxie and rub my eye, which is a please keep an eye on us signal that I've used with her before.
I'm gonna take my backpack off and put it down by the bar and pull out this little metal figurine. And I'm gonna walk over and I'm gonna say, hello, my name is Elias Stone. And your names are?
And you see the dark-haired girl with the really tight curls. They're sitting there at the little booth. She actually kind of turns, just very so subtly, kind of turns her shoulders sideways. So she takes a very protective posture against Deke, who's kind of sitting on the inside. And then she just looks at you.
And I pull out this little figurine and I put it on the table and I wind it just a little bit. And it's a little clockwork figurine of a bird. And it doesn't do anything, but it's this little wings flap and its beak opens and closes. I say, what do you think of that?
Deke the boy instantly is like,
What's your name?
I'm Deke.
Deke.
And the girl kind of looks back at him like,
You want to see something really neat?
yeah.
All right. And I cast light. Deke, and I'm sorry, what was your name, little lady?
And she just looks at you. And then Deke says, that's Elias.
Deke and Elias. I have been sent here by the Temple of Nin Gahe. Do you know what that is?
And finally, Elias speaks and she says, they help run the orphanage where we stay?
Right. So
Are you going to take us back?
that was what I was planning on doing, my young lady.
Roll me a perception check.
Can I give myself guidance on that?
Sure.
How about a 27?
You sense from her this overwhelming aspect of that's the only place in the city that's safe. I mean, you get it clearly presented to you that that's the only place she feels safe.
Can I let you in on a secret?
And then Deke immediately was like, yeah.
I also grew up in an orphanage, so I know what it's like to have a home there. They were my best friends who I grew up with. So my question for you is, and we're gonna take you home, I promise. I'm gonna get some stew, but we're gonna take you home. But I'm just wondering, Tomas and Lila, they were with you. What happened to them?
And her face just, the hope just comes shattering down, right, on her face. And she looks down at the table, and Deke looks over at her, gives her a little nudge. We had to leave them behind.
Where?
At the fishery. It's not a good place.
Is that over by the docks?
It is. And it's far away from the orphanage. How did you find your way to the fishery?
We were just in our beds at the lighted way, and then there was someone in the room, and then we were all bound up, and our heads and mouths, we couldn't talk, and then we were at the fishery.
And you never saw anyone?
Well, not in the night.
Did you see anyone at the fishery?
Oh yeah, there's lots of people there. Lots of kids.
But not the ones who took you?
Oh, I don't know, it could have been.
Are there still kids there now?
Yeah.
Moxie, call her to the bar.
And for narrative's sake, we'll say, business has died down. She can step out, and she walks over, and especially if she sees Elias start to be upset, she definitely would walk over.
Yeah, there's like a sixth sense,
And she would say, Elias, honey, these my new friends, they ain't bothering you, are they?
No, they're very nice. He's one of us.
Lisa and Deke, They need to go home. I'm wanting to take them home. I think there might be something else going on here.
Oh, yeah, okay, I didn't tell you that part of the story. So when we roughed up those hoodlums in the alleyway, they answered to some kind of a person, a figure, who has the very totally not awkward or awful, evil, sinister name, Boo.
Elias, does the name Boo mean something to you?
He's the bad green man. And then Deke kind of says, it's a half-orc.
According to the guy that we questioned, they're keeping the kids down by the dock, or at least they're delivering them there.
Well, then we're going to have to go down there and rescue those kids.
The good news for you is I got a few inside people.
Red Dirt D&D Curse of the Clockwork City is Brooke Bullock as our Dungeon Master, Kiri Hester as Moxie, Connor Shenold as Sable, Johnny Payne as August E. Greymoor, and I'm Michael Cross as Dr. Elias Stone. Our theme music comes from Ovani Sound. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of Jeffrey McBride, Monument Studios, Describe.com, and TabletopAudio.com. Dice for the Red Dirt D&D cast provided by ST Way Gaming. You can find us at reddirtdnd.com. If you are enjoying Red Dirt D&D, make sure to subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment. Also, tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D. You can also support the show at patreon.com/reddirtdnd at whatever giving level works best for you. Join us next time as we discover more secrets in the Clockwork City.